Hi everyone, my name is Dova, and today I'm going to be talking about smart managed EV charging on behalf of Denison County Electric Association. So let's get into it. So first, a little bit about who I am. Like I said, my name is Dova, and I am a recharge coach. Recharge is a statewide program funded through the Colorado Energy Office. And as coaches, we provide e-mobility grant support. So if you're trying to apply for a grant to install EV charging from the state, I could support with technical assistance and answer any questions you have. We also host EV events throughout our region. And do general education about the benefits of EV charging and EVs. And we can do this for residents, business owners, governments, etc. And the purpose of Recharge is really to help create a robust ecosystem of bilingual support and resources that is needed to help transition the state of Colorado to EVs and have that be a relatively smooth transition. So that's Recharge. And like I said, I'm Dova. I'm the West Central coach. So my region is Summit County and West, and then Hinsdale, Ouray County and up. So Gunnison County is right in the middle of that. And I am the Clean Mobility Program Manager at Clear. Clear is a small clean energy nonprofit based in Carbondale, Colorado, and we work to accelerate the transition to a clean energy economy. We work in renewables, buildings, and clean mobility. Um, and Clear is the entity that is the recharge coach for the West Central region. Okay, enough about me. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the benefits of EVs. And then after that, we'll talk a little bit about what's changing at GCEA and off-peak charging. So first up, benefits of EV ownership. We're going to talk about some cost savings. So you're going to save a lot of money on the fuel. You're not going to pay for gas anymore. You're just going to plug your car in and then use electricity to get around. So you'll save an average of about 60% on fuel costs. If you're thinking in comparisons to gallons, it's like you're spending about $1 per gallon. And over the course of an EV, that's anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000. And of course, this depends on the car you have, where you live, and when you're charging, and which we'll talk about more later. But different cars charge at different speeds, different utilities have different different electricity rates and so on. So that's sort of what affects your costs per mile. And another big one is that there's three types of charging. There's level one, level two, and level three charging. Level one charging is like a trickle charge. You're going to plug into your 120-volt outlet. It's going to charge pretty slow. It's going to add anywhere from 2 to 4 miles per hour to your car. So that's the slowest. Level two can be home charging or public charging. And that's a little faster. That'll fill your car up overnight. It plugs into a 240-volt outlet. And then there's DCFC or level three charging, which is more like a gas station for an EV. You can plug in and fill up in anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. With that said, level three charging, DCFC charging, is a lot more expensive because you're pulling more electricity off the grid. So DCFC charging is more expensive. So if you predominantly do DCFC charging, you're going to pay more than if you only did at home level two charging. Next, for cost savings, you're going to have lower maintenance, about 50%. There's fewer, not no, but fewer moving parts. No oil changes, there's no transmission. The main thing that moves is your tiles and your windshield wipers. So windshield wiper fluid, and then you'll need new tires every once in a while, just like with a normal gas vehicle. EVs are also likely to outlast a comparable gas car. There's more and more information coming out that shows you can drive 100,000 miles and still have up to 90% of the original range. So as EVs have been out and about longer, we're really seeing they're outlasting comparable gas models. There are also a lot of rebates and tax incentives that are available if you're interested in buying an EV that can help lower that sticker price. And that's what we'll talk about next. So First up is the Vehicle Exchange Colorado rebate program. This is specific to the state of Colorado. It's a statewide program to incentivize getting high emitting gas vehicles off the road and replacing them with EVs. Basically, there's a few requirements. You have to be under 80% of your area median income, to be over 18, you have to live in Colorado, and the title of the car, of the gas car, has to be just for you, just under your name. And then you have to have an old car, 12 years or older, that or a car that fails the Colorado emissions test. And then you have to want to replace that car. So you're exchanging the old gas car for an EV. You have to apply to this program beforehand. So apply first, you get approved, and then you work with a participating dealer. There's many on the Front Range and then some nearby-ish in Glenwood Springs. Um, but you work with a participating dealer, and then they will just take the rebate off the MSRP, or so the sale price of the car. Currently, at the moment, those rebates are 6,000 for a new EV and 4,000 for a used EV. But at the beginning of November, they're going up to 9,000 for a new EV and 6,000 for a used EV. So main points here is you have to replace a car, an old gas car, and you have to apply beforehand. But you can get a big rebate towards an EV through this program. Next, there's an EV tax credit through the state of Colorado. The federal tax credits are unfortunately now gone, but there still are some state tax credits. These are only available for new cars. So you can get 3,500 for a new EV if the MSRP, the sale price of the car, is up to 80,000. If you buy a cheaper EV that has an MSRP under 35,000, then you can get an additional 2,500. So that gets you to $6,000 total. And just be aware that the base 3,500 is decreasing to $750 on January 1st, 2026. And that 2,500 bonus rebate for a cheaper EV is staying in place. And a dealer would apply this to your sale price, potentially if you finance or lease it. But if you buy it outright, likely they're just going to ask you to apply for this on your Colorado state taxes. Brief interlude of there's also an e-bike tax credit. Right now it's $450 at a participating retailer for an e-bike, and that's decreasing to $225 on the 1st of January. So if you've been thinking about an e-bike, now's a great time to make that purchase. All right, we finished with those cost benefits, and now getting into some of the other benefits, performance, convenience, and environmental impact. So you're going to be able to get, anywhere 200 to 500 mile, get a 200 to 500 mile range on a full battery, depending on the type of EV that you buy and the model. So that gets you pretty far. And there's a robust network of EV charging throughout Colorado. So you can look that up at plugshare.com. It's a good resource to sort of plan out your route, figure out where there are nearby public chargers. EVs, so in addition to that, long growing and long range, EVs are fun to drive. They have instant acceleration, they're smooth to drive, they're quiet, and you never have to go to a gas station again. So pretty great. You're also going to have reduced lifetime emissions of the EV. So it's about 50 to 60% lower than a comparable gas car. Less emissions over the course of the life of the car. And that includes all of the mining and all of the assembly of that EV. You also don't have any tailpipe emissions. So that means when you're driving from your house to the grocery store or the house to drop your kids off at school, you don't have any tailpipe emissions in your communities. And as the grid, the electricity grid is getting cleaner, your fuel and your charging will become cleaner with that grid. So, the longer you have it, as the grid gets cleaner, you're emitting even less over the lifetime of that EV. And kind of like I just said, you're supporting clean energy in your community um, and taking gas cars off the road. Okay, so next, what's changing at GCEA? GCEA is Gunnison County Electric Association. Essentially, GCEA is transitioning from a two-part bill, electric bill, which was comprised of service and energy, to a three-part electric bill, which will be comprised of service, energy, and demand, starting on the 1st of January in 2026. So, what is a demand charge? A demand charge is the highest 1 hour usage you hit during the peak demand period, which for GCEA customers is 5 to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. And essentially, peak demand is your home's highest burst of energy in your billing cycle. And these spikes just put extra stress on the grid and really drive up the cost of electricity for GCEA and for other customers. And so, attempting to spread out those peak loads will help electricity be cheaper for everybody. And you can learn more on GCEA's website, which is right down here below. So this is a little bit more about peak demand. As you can see, as you can see, peak demand, GCA is defining it for them 5 to 9 Monday through Saturday. So, that's about from here to here. And you can just see that that's higher than the rest of the day. And that's because everyone's getting home and running their appliances, running the dishwasher, running the clothes dryer, that sort of thing. Uh, and in a perfect world, the demand would just stay the same throughout the day. So GCA is trying to reduce those peaks. And why does this matter for EV charging? That's the next great question. It's an important question. And it's pretty simple. EV charging is one of the biggest controllable electricity loads at your home. So it's one of the easiest things to shift to another part time of the day to reduce your load during that peak demand period. And so, what is off-peak charging? Off-peak charging is how we are going to deal with EVs pulling a lot of electricity from the grid. Instead of charging from 5 to 9 Monday through Saturday, you just have to shift when you're charging to an off-peak time. And there's many benefits when it comes to off-peak charging. First of all, you're going to have lower electricity rates during off-peak hours, so you'll pay less for electricity. You'll avoid the demand charge that's being added. Um, and you're going to reduce strain on the overall electric system and bring everybody's rates down. And this helps support grid reliability and the integration of more renewable energy sources across the grid. So next, you might be asking, okay, how do I facilitate off-peak charging? How does it work? It's pretty simple. And EVs and EV chargers make it simple. So first, you just essentially want to not charge from 5 to 9 Monday through Saturday. And you can do that in numerous ways. You can plug in anytime. So say you get home from work, you plug your car in, and you can just set it up so that you can charge later. Charge and wait to charge until after 9 p.m. And you can do that likely through your EV's settings. You can schedule charging to start after 9 p.m. in your car's app or dashboard. You also likely can do it with a level 2 smart charger. So I was talking before about the types of chargers. Level 2 is that type that charges overnight. That can be at home and it can be public. But if you have one at home, you can use a scheduling or delay start feature so that even if you get home from work at 5, you can plug your car in, but the app and the charger and the car all know to not start charging until after 9 p.m., until after we're out of that peak demand period. Um, so speaking to that, then you're charging maybe during the day, but maybe only at night as well. Overnight charging on a level 2 charger will more than likely fill up your battery by morning. And then you can just, if it even if it doesn't, you can top off at a level two charger. But in all likelihood, on a day-to-day basis, you're just sort of topping off overnight. You're not necessarily going from empty all the way to full. So overnight charging usually works for most people, and your car will be full in the morning. Another thing you can do for appliances, and GCA talks about this in a different video, but you can spread out your big loads. So you can not run the dishwasher and the clothes dryer all at the same time, right? So avoid stacking those major appliances and just don't charge your EV during peak hours because that will bump you up and create a demand charge. You can also check your data. You can use a Smart Hub app to see your household's demand, electricity demand, and then use that to adjust some of your habits. So you could take a look at that before the peak demand changes take effect, so before the end of the year, and then you can start the year knowing what you need to shift and when. So that's a great resource that you should definitely check out. So GCEA also offers rebates and a time of use rate. So enrolling in a time of use rate will help you save on electricity costs during off-peak hours, and it'll allow you to qualify for EV charger rebates. So there's more info via this QR code if you would like to scan it. But basically, for non-Power Pledge contributors, you can get up to $1,000 towards an EV level two EV charger. And then PowerWise Pledge contributors can get up to 1,250. And that is split for both of them 50-50 between the EV charger cost and then electrical service. Um, and so way back at the start of this presentation, I was talking about level one, level two, and DCFC chargers. Level two chargers are those smart chargers where you can have it delay charging or schedule a start to charging so that it's during off-peak hours. And these rebates could help you purchase one of those smart level two chargers. Um, and yes, like I said, for more info, scan this QR code below. Before I move on, there's also a federal EV charger tax credit that's available for EV chargers, home EV chargers. It's the project has to be completed by the end of June 2026 in order for it to qualify, but that'll cover 30% up to $1,000, I believe, but potentially you should fact check me on that as you're looking into this, because I'm just doing those numbers off the top of my head. But those stacked together can get you a good ways towards having a smart level two charger. Okay, that's all I have today. So thanks for listening. I hope this helps you not be peaky with your EV charging, especially when the new year starts. Please reach out if you have any questions. Like I said at the beginning, I'm the recharge coach for the West Central region. So I'm more than happy to answer your personal or your business or your government's questions about EVs and EV charging when it comes to grants, hosting an EV educational event, and just answering any questions you may have. So please reach out. And again, thanks for listening.